It was great. You did good job.
No, I don't do anything but push a button. It's tough work.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Going back to, at this point, I'm going to, we've got you recording, everybody. Glad to have you here this week. And I'm going to turn things over to today's speaker, Mr. Blaze Thomas with Splashmob. Splashmob allows you to create mobile views full of content and audience interactions, control the view displayed on the audience's phone. That's fascinating to me. And receive feedback from your viewers. It's a spontaneous gathering in digital space. So Blaze, the platform is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to share my screen as well. And I just wanted to say a quick note on the presentation about the hoopla at the library. I noticed when you were on the first page there, at the bottom of the page, there was a title that was Radical Candor, which is a book I read recently and I really recommend. So that was cool. I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen here.
This book here?
Yes, that book right there. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great book. Great, well, thank you for having me. I'd like to open by sort of asking a rhetorical question, just saying, do you love virtual events? Neither did we. We didn't love virtual events, although we've found some really interesting ones, and we're exploring the potential, but our purpose is to lead innovation in event technology. We have worked on a solution that we hope will apply to both virtual and real and in-person events. We are Splashmob, and our flagship product is designed to allow you to create and display content on people's phones, very much like a slideshow. And so this starts with the audience view, which is the item to the far right of this slide. And I'm going to let you experience that in a moment. So I'll actually ask you to have your phone close by, and I'm going to show you a QR code in a moment and have everyone connect. We do this to engage audiences. There's a number of advantages to displaying content on people's phones because they constantly have them with them. They are logged into all of their social media accounts. A lot of people have Apple Pay and Google Pay activated. And so we wanted to create a tool that would take advantage of all of those things. In order to do that, we have two other parts of our product that are the behind the scenes that you will interact with if you choose to use our product. We call them the controller, which is the remote control tools, a little bit like a presenter view in a slideshow, and the dashboard, which is where you can create the experiences. And this is a little bit fuzzy, and we have a beta test now where we can invite you to try it out, but this is just a quick example of what it looks like to use our dashboard and build an experience. It's in fast forward right now, so it may look a little daunting, but I assure you it's very simple. It's just a question of adding a few photos, some text, and it will produce an experience that looks a little bit like this. So in order to see it, I will invite you to launch the camera on your phone, hover it over this QR code, and follow the notification from your web browser, at which point you should come connected to our main experience, and you should be looking at a screen. Oops. Zoom is actually blanking it out, but you should just be looking at a screen exactly like that. Correct. It's just our logo that's spinning, and it'll say tap anywhere to start. So I can see in real time people getting connected, and I'll show you a little preview of what the controller looks like just by dragging this over. Can you see the controller right now? If I drag that over. So I'm going to just keep it on the other screen. But what this does is this gives me a tally of everyone who's connected. And it gives me control over the content that you're seeing, as well as all of the submitted answers. So we call this a low infrastructure, interactive broadcasting platform, and one that is optimized for mobile web. We like to make fireworks happen on people's phones, just to further engage and interact with our audiences. So we do this in two main ways. There's a broadcast layer, and actually, yes, I can see someone's holding up their phone. So I'm actually going to just show this because there's a preview window in the controller here to the right-hand side. We have a broadcast layer and then a series of interactions that are available through the platform. On the broadcasting side, we support all standard media formats available on the web. Including 3D and AR, which is something that is only possible on your phones. And on the interaction side, this is our main feature set that we have developed so far. And it includes a tool for polling your audience, a text input for the audience that can be used for a chat or a question and answers feature, or it can also be used for data capture. We have a virtual photo booth, so we can ask everyone's permission to switch on their cameras and take a selfie together. And that can be branded selfie as well with a 2D overlay. And then we've also had some simple games, augmented reality, and as I mentioned earlier, a point of sale. So I'd love to just show you a little example of what some of the interaction points look like. Just from what you know so far, what do you think of Splashmob? And it's okay if you're not convinced to tell me more. We've only just started, so please feel free to vote freely. And it seems like everyone has just said awesome so far, so I thank you for that. Just a little note about traction. I'll ask you to keep your phones open. We're going to come back to that in a second. I'm actually going to leave you with a view open right now, which is for more info. We use this for gathering people's contact information, or if you have any questions as I'm presenting, you can also just type a question in here and submit it, and I will receive it, and then I can address your question. But I'm going to just move on with the main slide presentation and talk about our early traction and our early users. We've been very focused on events companies. Our main customer are corporate event managers, but we've also had a couple pilot programs with the radio station, which is Dash Radio, and we're just in discussions with launching a pilot program with Levity Live, which is a comedy company that have comedy venues, and they're launching a drive-in comedy show. So that's a little note on our early adopters, and I'll have some more information about how to take part in being an early adopter at the end of this presentation. So our business model is we are a freemium software as a service, which means that for the most part, our users get to interact with our product completely for free, but there are tiered subscriptions available because there is a cap on the audience size in the freemium tier. Currently that cap stands at 10 users, which, for example, for the purposes of this presentation, I'd be able to do this completely for free, as there are only 6 people who are connected. And then we also have a marketplace for advanced features. This is our team. I'm the founder, and I also have a background in software engineering. So I built most of the platform until my friend Philippe came along. And Philippe and I are colleagues from General Assembly, where we were previously instructors in the software engineering program. And then we met John at Techstars Music, an accelerator that we took part in earlier this year. And John joined the team, and he's here on the call today, and he's been a really pivotal member of the team in helping us lead the business development initiative. So I've talked to you about Splashmob Live, which is the product that you're seeing right now on your phone. And actually, in true demo fashion, it seems to maybe have just crashed, so apologies for that. But that's fine. We also have a feature add-on for Splashmob Live, which we call Splashmob Sync, which allows you to archive the experiences against any any media platform such as YouTube. And it does that by using an audio fingerprint. And then I'd love to give you a little sneak peek because we're an innovation studio. We've been very focused on live events, and we have a prototype that we call Splashmob Connect, which is a virtual 3D social event space with peer-to-peer video. So it's very similar to Zoom, but in 3 dimensions. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I've got a little video preview here of myself earlier, just calling myself in this space. I must stress this is not part of our main initiative. This is just something we're doing as research on the side. And I would like to invite you all to have a video conference in there at some point if you'd like to try it. Company stage, we're currently raising funds to launch our flagship product, scale our customers, and enhance key features. And I won't linger on that too much because this isn't an investor pitch. But I will show you this slide, which is different ways of getting in touch with us. And I can indeed share this deck after the presentation. I was just looking at the questions that came in. So apologies for this. I think I'm going to say this is the end of the presentation. I'm somewhat baffled because this does not happen often, but it does seem as though the demo may have stalled slightly. So if you're seeing an application error on your phone, that might be because our CTO is busy at work pushing updates to the application. So we'll drill down into that. But at this point, I'd love to answer any questions.
All right, thank you.
So I have a question.
Yes.
If the application is for free, is it a free application? So
Yes.
how do you make your money?
So it's freemium, meaning the base tier is free. And anyone choosing to use this application with up to 10 users can do so for free, and they can try it out. And then there is a subscription above and beyond that if you have a larger audience size. And so the subscription is based upon the average size of your audience.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a technical question, but I don't want to bore everybody. So,
Oh, well, I'll try and keep the answer light then.
I've always heard about progressive web apps. Is that what this is?
This is a progressive web app, yes. And actually, if it hadn't crashed right now, I would show that to you. There is the ability to bookmark this application. On iOS, you would tap the share button at the bottom and then add it to home screen, and it will install it with the custom icon, just like an application that you download from the App Store. And at that point, you have the same experience, but full screen, which is a little nicer. But it gets rid of any kind of friction that you have with sending people to the App Store just to download a quick application that will connect to your event. That icon can be custom branded, as can the name of the application. And so, yes, you are indeed correct. This follows the progressive web app standard.
And then other question, is it do audio? I just saw sort of images.
Yes, so we support audio, video, and then we also have an augmented reality experience, augmented reality, we call them droplets. We call our features droplets, and each slide can have a series of different droplets that can be layered on top of each other. And so those are the main formats that we use.
Like there's all these gamers that are out there, you know, on Twitch and stuff like that. Is this something like that where you could do real-time video, RTMP, OBS?
Absolutely. So we have a stream layer as well for streaming video, and we use Twitch directly inside the application as a layer to do that. Gamers and streamers were part of our initial target audience, and we would still like to, I'll actually hand it over to John to talk about that a little bit. Just the bulk of our traction has come from the event space. And so that's really just the way that the tide has pulled us in trying to find the best product market fit. But we would like to try and onboard a couple esports gamers and streamers to see how they use this.
Yeah, we're focused on event teams in every sector. So it could be music, corporate presentations.
What are the biggest concerns that you hear from people in use of this program?
The biggest concerns?
Right. I guess, you know, one of the things that do you hear privacy concerns? Because when I hear that you take over or have the capacity to, you know, take over the phone, I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I want somebody to take over my phone. I'm a former banker, so what's that giving somebody access to? But I didn't receive any permissions when I went to or any permission requests when I went to your website. So
Yeah.
or any words?
Really, all it is just a website that can be remote controlled, and it can be full of digital media. So it sort of has the appearance that we're taking over the phone. We say that to make a drastic statement and get people's attentions in the context of a presentation, although that isn't strictly true. What is innovative here is that we have the ability to build a website while people are browsing the website, which is quite novel. Particularly useful in the context of events because you never know what's going to come up and you might want to share something or quickly add a slide. But you are completely protected by your web browser. And in more than 99% of cases that we have observed our users, and 99.9, because people are coming in through a QR code or a referral text message, that browser will be your native browser, which is Safari or Chrome. And it gives you a very high level of protection.
So it's rather like internet improv.
Rather like internet improv, exactly. Yes, that would be a great analogy. Just before the chat window closed, somebody asked the question, is it a hot dog sandwich?
No.
Okay, that was just I was assuming that was just a joke, and I just wanted to share it with everyone. So.
No, that's, you got it wrong because I must have typed it wrong. The question is a hot dog a sandwich? So.
I'm so sorry. Is a hot dog a sandwich? I'm so sorry. That's even better.
I was just testing the question and it worked. So.
Yeah. Yes, it worked. Yes, it worked. I don't know. That's a very existential question. I think I'll save that for the after party.
We always like to ask, one of the things we drive is what specifically can our chapter of Women in Cups do to help Splashmob?
So we are a somewhat local company. If we had been in person, I certainly would have taken any excuse to drive up to Santa Barbara, and I go up there quite often. I think really we're at the stage where we are encouraging the community that forms around what we're doing to just really participate in the development of this application and give us feedback. So I noticed that you were using a slide deck earlier, Tara. And if you would like to put that slide deck and try using it in Splashmob, we would love to host you. There are certain benefits to doing that. One of which is that some of your slides will be translated if you ever have any participants whose phone browser is set to a foreign language. The slides will automatically be translated. You can also set some of the slides to be downloaded or liked or shared to social media. So no more of this thing that you see where people take their phones out to take a photo of a presentation. And then the engagement tools can be very useful. So just throwing out a poll, even if it's just as simple as, how are you? How's everyone doing this morning? Have you had your cup of coffee? Can really help with this sort of dead silence that you can have in a virtual event space, sometimes like Zoom, where people out of courtesy will mute their microphone, but then on the flip side, you don't really hear them laugh when you say a joke or something like that. So it helps bridge that gap. So yeah, would love to extend an invitation to try using it.
Sure, definitely call you and take you up on that. And what you mentioned, I've been taking some online courses, and the professors are really struggling. They're hurting because they'll ask questions and there's nothing but dead silence, and they have no pictures. Everybody's cameras shut off because nobody wants to show their messy dorm room or whatever else might be going on in there. So, and that is something that is, harming their perception of their job. Yeah,
so Philippe and I both met at General Assembly. We are both educators in the software space. And so education is something we've always had a keen eye on through the development of this product. Philippe actually still teaches part-time today at General Assembly. And so in the education space is something we would absolutely love to explore as well. And we are doing that. We're just, like I said, this height is mainly pulling us into virtual events, but that does encompass classrooms.
Absolutely. I mean, some of these classes are, hundreds of students per class. So. Yeah. All right. Who else has some questions?
I have a quick one. When you, it might not be a quick one, depends. when you envision this for like the esports or Twitch initially, what type of engagement, or what were you thinking? How would the streamer use this?
So the concept that we had imagined was with, for example, League of Legends. Generally, the spectator view is sort of I forget what they call it, but it's the view from above. And gamers themselves are actually experiencing the game through a third-person view. So the item that we had conceptualized just revolved around providing fans with the ability to connect to any streamer's third-person view and effectively see the game from two different angles. So that was the main thing that we had sort of conceptualized. And generally, the theme that we always have when we work with someone on their pilot program is we try and find a very compelling reason for people to connect. The reason you would connect with your phone is because you can have access to something that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. It's the sort of the sugar coating, if you will. And then after that, the ability to interact and then place calls to action at people's fingertips is what really benefits the streamer. So just providing this extra surface for exchanges is really what we're trying to do here.
But you would need like, for example, to be watching from. You'd need two devices technically. If you were to watch, you need to watch it on a computer or a tablet, and you need a phone or a tablet. Is it thought to be like, is there any way to split it up where you can get like the actual stream on the one half and then all your stuff right under it? I know it's probably super technical and a lot of work. Is that a possibility in the future?
So the thought was originally to just use the QR code that we generate and display that as part of their stream so that people can connect up their phone and have an extra point of interaction. There is, I think what you're touching on is, there is one scenario where this doesn't really work, and that's if people are watching the stream 100% just on their phone. It does then turn around and become available again if they cast that content to a Chromecast or an Apple TV. They can then still use their phone as an auxiliary device. Potentially in future, there might be the possibility of doing something like splitting screens and creating a new form of media in that way. Yes.
Are you guys live yet, or are you still in the early phases?
We're in the early phases. We're in what we've called a soft launch. So the product is available. We say internally, soup to nuts. You can log into the dashboard, create an experience, broadcast it. But we've just overhauled our architecture to be able to accommodate much larger audience sizes and a much higher degree of activity from our users, who are the people who are building the experiences. So yes, the best way to describe our status is soft launch. We are live effectively. If you would like to use the tool, we would love to have you. The ask in exchange is that you provide us with feedback and let us know how your experience is going and your use case and what you've managed to do with the tool.
And so the operator, you kind of spoke on it, it kind of flashed through in the beginning. Is it an app that they use, or do they go on their desktop or laptop and use a program?
Yeah, so it's everything is available through the web browser. So if you are the presenter, there's an interface which is accessible through Google Chrome or Safari or whatever web browser you like to use.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Blaze, can you do a kind of Zoom with people? Like, can you have 4 or 5 people participant and do like Zoom meeting? Can you do that?
That is not currently, strictly speaking, within the realm of our capabilities in the existing product that's out there. We do have a product clone, which is like Zoom in 3D, but that is only available on desktop. And this is just part of our innovation activities and not strictly speaking part of our product line. However, we do have the ability to switch on the cameras and take a single photo, which actually is really helpful in the context of some meetings where people don't want to have their live webcam switched on, they can still take part and sort of show their face, so to speak.
So does that mean you don't do live motion to the phone?
We don't, so the layer that we can stream is not a peer-to-peer streaming layer like Zoom. Right here in Zoom, all of our videos are connected to each other's videos, as is our audio. We have a system for streaming, which is one-to-many. So the streamer can basically expose their stream to everyone, but there is no stream layer coming back at them.
But the stream can go live to the phone as motion video?
Yes, yes, absolutely, yes.
And audio. What about to the desktop?
So we've started exploring that, but our focus is on having a mobile-first tool. Technically, it will work on a desktop, and we have a view where we basically simulate a phone on the desktop. So it does work, but it's not a use case that our users have reported a lot of activity around. Really is primarily a mobile phone tool.
All right, we are coming up on the top of the hour, and of course, I always like to let everybody go right at 10 o'clock. So I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. And Blaze and John, we're so grateful for your participation in our meeting and your presentation today. That is a very informative conversation, and I think all of us took a little bit of something. And Steve, don't ever be afraid to ask a technical question. This is how I learn. All right.
Thank you. I'm always embarrassed.
Yeah. All right. So we have get caught up here. So next week's speaker, we have invited Pravin Uttarwar of Code Grip to come speak with us. That's not confirmed yet. So hopefully that'll work out again. This is where we're going back out, but right now that's who's reserved for next week's slot. So, and if you know of anyone who would like to present to us, certainly send them to Santa Barbara at 1millioncups.com. We'd love to speak with them. Share the love and invite friends to come and sit in on a meeting as well. And my quote of the week this week is always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everybody else. So I'll see you all unique individuals next week. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara.
Thanks for presenting.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Totally awesome. Sent you an email.
Great presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, feel free to use it. Really excited to.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good.
Bye-bye.